Hey, folks, and welcome to Political Matrix News. I'm Scott Miller, and this is my buddy Greg Fink. We've been in politics. We've been political consultants for about 30 years.
Oh,
We have
wow.
seen it all, and we are going to share our insights with you. So, I guess I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to talk about this Kash Patel thing.
About the burn bag?
Burn bags.
Yeah,
You know,
explain that to everybody.
So if you remember, in order for Pam Bondi to get all of the Epstein stuff, she had to basically threaten to fire people. And she's asked for all sorts of incriminating evidence on various topics. In this particular case, in literally the exact same way that they found a room locked that no one had a key to, that had all of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff in, or what they are saying is all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Let's just call it a big cache of just Jeffrey Epstein stuff. They also found a big cache, thousands of sheets of pages of emails and hard drives from computers that start at the very beginning of the whole Russia hoax.
No.
And they are very telling as far as what's showing that this conspiracy happened even before the meeting that they're talking about with Barack Obama. It was in the works for almost the entire Trump campaign in 2016.
Well, it looks like somebody needs to start digging up things here that the Biden and the Obama Department of Justice here wanted to go ahead and just keep hidden.
I'm starting to think, that they're talking about this missing client list of Epstein's.
Right.
I'm starting to think, that they were given a list of things that were on it, that were included in all this evidence, and that might have been on it, and that's the reason they talked about it. And then when they started opening up all their stuff, it wasn't in it. So now, and this is a criticism of them, they're reluctant to talk about it, to admit that it's a piece that they can't find, probably because they correctly assume that someone will criticize them for losing it, when the reality is almost certainly, I find it very hard to believe that if they had physical possession of this client list during the Obama or the Biden years, that someone wouldn't take that thing and segregate it and put it in their pocket if it had anything incriminating in it.
Exactly. I mean, he would have been prosecuted already for all this. I mean, Trump would have been.
Exactly.
Anything like that. I mean, after all the other fake prosecutions that they did during the Biden presidency, they would have went ahead and added that to the list.
For sure they would. Because I mean, if the last, God dang, 12 years hasn't told you something, then it should at least, or not 12, I guess it's that 8 and change. No, it was 8 and change. It should at least tell you that they will do anything. They will make up any story. They will twist any law. They will manufacture any kind of evidence to prosecute Trump. And anyone who believes with any level of credibility that if they had a piece of evidence that incriminated Trump in any way, they wouldn't have prosecuted him immediately. You're crazy.
Right. This is a big difference here between the DOJ, first Trump administration, and the DOJ, and the second Trump administration, because now, the first Trump administration, they're all covering everything up. They're covering their own butts and everything like that. This one here, they're purging. And, I mean, those burn bags were still there back then, but obviously they're being covered up or hidden by the FBI, who did not like Trump then, by Comey
James
and
Comey
and those guys, James Comey and his buddies. Were covering up those burn bags that probably did exist back then too as well, and existed during Biden's time, and for some reason it still stayed hidden. But now Trump, I mean, with his purging of everything, which is what you're supposed to do, by the way, whenever you become president, you're supposed to purge and get rid of all the people who are not going to be supporting the agenda of the administration. That's normal.
Well, I don't know if you're supposed to get rid of everybody, but I would say that there would be a certain number of people who have revealed themselves to be hyper partisan. Those people would need to go.
Right.
Career people who haven't expressed any particular partisanship of any kind.
Let's say.
Yeah, I don't care if they're Democrats or Republicans. As long as they're there to do the job, God bless them. But if they're there to twist the organization into their party needs,
no, you can't do that.
Bye-bye.
And this is what I think what happens is whenever you start, clearing out the hallways and emptying out the building like they had done in D.C. and spreading out all the agents throughout all the different field agencies all throughout the country, you find stuff. You find stuff that was locked away that shouldn't be locked away. And this is what happens. I mean, this is what happens whenever you guys cover up everything all the damn time.
Well, it's like the Peter Strzok and Lisa Page thing, right? Everyone was being paranoid. No, this isn't really happening. And even when they released all of the text messages, the long strings of text messages between those two, no, that doesn't mean what you think it means.
No.
Well, it turns out it means exactly what you thought it.
I mean, it doesn't mean it is. Kind of like what Clinton said back in the Monica Lewinsky trial. I mean, what's the definition of is? And so, it goes all the way back to the Democrat Party, and not just in the whole party itself, but certain leaders in the Democrat Party redefining conjunctions, verbs, and nouns to manipulate it to satisfy their own needs.
What's funny to me is that the Democrats forever were, and I guess to this day are still, implying that they're not implying it. They're flat out saying the Republicans are going to bring an authoritarian state. And yet, which party seems more like the political party from George Orwell's 1984?
Right. They should look it up in their fucking magnals, like they say on Laughing, and realize what the definitions of these words mean. Authoritarian is what they are, not what the Republicans are.
Right. Well, you remember. I mean, I don't know if you actually read 1984, but I mean, it was replete with references about that one time we're at war with Oceania. We've always been at war with Oceania. We hate Oceania, and then something would change in the hierarchy. They'd make a deal with Oceania, and all of a sudden, all of that would go away, and now they would redefine words to make it so that we've always been partners with Oceania. It's those other guys that are bad. We
Right.
love Oceania, and this is just it was a recurring theme within the whole book of constantly changing the definition of words, constantly rewriting books so that they support the party narrative. I mean, all of this stuff literally are the things that the Democrats are doing now,
Right.
calling us authoritarians.
I mean, this whole justification of violence by the Democrat Party and the left is just ridiculous. I mean, they keep on referring back to the wonderful people who marched in the Capitol on January 6th and said they were the violent ones. And they keep on making up these deaths that didn't happen, keep on making up these attacks that did not happen. And yet, the reality here is that the January 6th people, a lot of them were imprisoned without any due diligence or due process. And or any real investigation. Also, and one of them got killed by a Secret Service agent. And so,
No, Capitol Police.
Capitol Police. I apologize. And so, one of them got murdered, and nobody on the other side got killed by anything that was done by the people. Now, one person did have a heart attack, and somebody did commit suicide because he was stressed about what happened afterward. But it was a few days or weeks, I think, after the whole situation. They didn't want to blame it all on that.
That's fundamentally ridiculous because
It is.
because I mean these guys are cops, all right.
And
Are you suggesting? Are you suggesting? I guess they are suggesting that that they were so traumatized by the scene of a mob not listening to the police, which is really all they did. They didn't
Right.
listen, and there were a couple of times when you could make an argument of who provoked who, but
Right.
there was a bit of a clash, but it wasn't anything like was going down in L.A. a couple of weeks ago.
Well, Washington, D.C. is one of the most violent cities in the country. And these are the Washington police, D.C. police. So I think they've seen it.
No. They're Capitol
Or
Police.
Capitol Police.
They don't patrol anything in the
But they don't?
world
Okay.
except for the Capitol. But that doesn't change the fact that they are still cops. A lot of them, they're prior military. They're all sorts of things. I don't care if they're the security guard for the gift shop. At some point, they've seen some pretty traumatic stuff,
Right.
and it wasn't that. Anyone that committed suicide off of that was already on that path, for whatever reason.
Tariffs did not slow the economy. It actually went up to 3%. And it's at a very rapid rate. The feds are going to just leave interest rates alone, leave everything alone, let it grow. Which I know Trump wants to cut it. You know, there's always a problem here with cutting it too much. You get deflation and everything. So I mean, if you're already growing, the economy's roaring, just let it roar.
Well, what concern is if they cut the interest rates too much, and make money too readily available, then because money's readily available, it drives up the prices of things because you have two competing bidders. You say, well, I'll pay this you only got one, I'll pay this for it. Another guy says, I'll pay this for it. Prices go up.
Yep.
But, and I will say that I don't agree with why Powell is doing it, but it doesn't bother me that he's not dropping that rate, only because I think that once we get a little more adjustment going on here, that we can how do I say this, have a more controlled, ramp up. God bless Trump. He wants to set the economy on fire and get, send it on an upward trajectory. He wants to light the fuse and send it on an upward trajectory. We need to be an airplane and not a rocket.
Exactly. It needs to be a good steady stream and everything. I think, and it needs to be even keeled. How it's growing. I think it's doing a good job. I mean, 3% is great. I mean, and unemployment numbers are lower than what they thought they were going to be. There's more jobs. Consumer confidence. I mean, everything's going up. Prices are dropping like 15 or 20% for a lot of food prices nationwide and everything.
There are going to be some things that go up. There's going to be some things that go down.
But yeah.
Unfortunately, the only things that we're going to hear about it will be from the list of things that go up because they want to imply that everything's going up because these things that everyone is familiar with are going up. Everything's going up.
And nobody wants to talk about nobody wants to talk about the positivity of the economy, where people are actually having more free income and everything else.
Well, that doesn't do any good for your fundraising.
No, it doesn't.
If you're sitting there telling everyone, hey, things are great, your fundraising is not going to be good.
No, it's not. You have to have
an emergency, and an enemy, and that equals great fundraising. That's the only thing they care about.
Yeah, that's all they really care about, and it's pretty sad because I mean these Democrats take pop shots at everybody, and no, we're not just picking on Democrats, but Republicans aren't. I mean that's just a fact. Republicans aren't out there telling people they wish Democrats were dead. I mean Republicans are actually trying to get everybody to have their babies, not kill them. I mean we're a very big pro-life kind of a party, and the Democrats are very pro-slavery and pro-death. So, I mean, it's just a fact. I mean, it's up to them to change it. I mean, they can change the narrative. They can talk about choice of killing a baby, or they can talk about choice of live long and prosper.
Let me tell you, hold that thought though, because I just saw a story on PBS as I was walking by, that talks about a new focus on pro-natalism, which is basically them a fancy way. Of course, PBS is going to say it in a fancy way, but a fancy way of saying that families need to have more children, which I think is ironic given the amount of effort that they have put into making it possible for people to kill their children.
Well, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago about the effort now the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is now putting on for illegal aliens who are future possible citizens to have the same rights. So, I mean, basically, I think the left, is realizing that maybe they're abandoning the whole pro-death concept and realizing that they need more voters because they're leading them to the MPA.
This has nothing to do with voters, nothing at all to do with voters. What this has to do with is, like there are a number of large countries around the world that are having demographic problems. We're having a demographic problems because our birth rate fell. And Russia's having one because they've been in too many stupid wars.
Right.
And they literally, the Russian method of war is to just throw soldiers at the meat grinder and just let it go. China had an unfortunate policy for a very long time, like 30 or 40 years, of only letting their families have one child, and they're going to have a demographic collapse. They're well on their way. They're probably about 5 to 10 years away from at the very least. Well, they already have the beginnings of a demographic collapse, 5 to 10 years from now, they should be in full swing because there's just just so many more elderly people than there are young people whose productivity feeds the rest of society.
I mean, it's going to be a very sad state of affairs in the entire next 10 or 15 years to see how everything shapes up demographically. All different shifts in population. I mean, I was talking to the manager at Sunny's today and asked him how come the order was wrong again. And I says, will this Generation Z ever get their act together? And he's like, tell me about it. You know, you can't seem to find the good workers in Generation Z.
Well, they just are so, they don't commit to the job. There's no focus. They're just lackadaisical. I mean,
Right.
I don't even know what the right word is. Watch these people who won't even put forth an effort to do, to learn how to do anything.
We can possibly say lazy. That might be a good word. But they're actually lazy with ambition.
I don't know.
Ambitiously
I mean,
lazy.
lazy sounds a little more judgmental than I want to
That's
be.
true, yeah.
Although it is fairly accurate, but it seems it seems to suggest that they're trying to not do this stuff. And I don't think that they're trying to be lazy. I just think that they're just their priorities, that they've had so many things handed to them
Right.
in their lives that they just don't put forth any effort.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. But
It's a
yeah.
strange world. It's a world that it sure doesn't go with anything that I've seen.
No. But you want to go ahead and cut it short?
Yeah, I know you have a meeting you have to go to.
Yeah. Yeah, my job, the new boss I have, hopefully, they had a big fiasco happen today in Ormond Beach. And so he just got off work like 20 minutes ago. So he's going to meet me after work and everything after he goes, clocks out. For a late interview.
And then maybe someone can go feed the cat.
I don't think so. You can hear the cat?
You know, the cat.
Can
That's
you
all
hear it?
right. Yeah, you're fine, but it's okay.
It's
It
not
adds to
registering my microphone here, so I know it could be
adds to
heard.
the ambiance. It's fine.
But yeah, well, okay, well, let's go real quick. Everybody, just go. We're gonna go ahead and cut it short tonight. So please, just go ahead and subscribe to our channel and like us, friend us.
Like us and subscribe us because it really does help us a lot.
It does.
And we appreciate you joining us for these little thought experiments.
Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna next week. We'll be quite a bit longer and everything. I think we might actually have a guest or so from Texas, and so we'll have a little bit of a Texas perspective on what we're gonna be talking about. So,
Yes.
you guys have a wonderful evening.